Into Unit 2. Oh, maybe I should turn the projector on. That might help. All right, we're in Schoology. Going to Unit 2, we have the slide ID list for Unit 2 exam. All right, we're waiting for the projector to warm up. All right, and we can get these lights turned down low. Okay, if you go into Unit 2 and in your Schoology, there is a slide ID study list. And you can go in here and see all of the artworks that will possibly be on the slide ID test. And a lot of these artworks are on the test as well. So here's my recommendation. You make your flashcards and you memorize the styles and the titles. There's a couple of titles from this that are going to be on the multiple choice part of the test. All right. And then after the multiple choice part of the test, then you can memorize the dates and so that'll help you study. All right. Okay. So then let's get into this is what I want to get into. All right. All right. I'm going to go over everything that will be on the test. Oh my. Okay, so I want you to know Baroque art and characteristics. There will be a question about the characteristics of Baroque art. Pablo, you following along? All right, I'm giving you the answers. Everybody got that? All right, I want you to know what a camera obscura is and who used it. There'll be a question about the Chardin still life paintings. I want you to know the Council of Trent's effect on art history. There's a question about the Counter-Reformation. What was that all about? What was it? Right. It was the Catholic response to the Reformation. Right. It was to make the art like fireworks, to impress everybody. Turn boring art into exciting art. Get the people engaged. Bring them back into the church. What was the effect of the discovery of Pompeii on art? The term Dal Soto in Sioux is on the test. The term Fete Gallant is on the test. Know the details of the Fragonard paintings. We discussed the swing and we discussed the progress of love. And there was a running theme through those 5 paintings, 6 paintings actually. And Fragonard did something in those paintings that we haven't talked about with any other artist, and that information will be on the test. I want you to know the French Revolution's impact on art history. All right, there's a couple of questions where I want you to know the general dates for the eras that we studied. I want you to know the general dates for Baroque. I want you to know the general dates for Rococo. And I want you to know the general dates for Neoclassical. So, Baroque, what dates are we talking about in general? It'd be like the 1600s. Rococo was like the early 1700s to the late 1700s, and Neoclassical was the late 1700s. Grand Tour will be on the test. You should know what that is. This goes along with the French Revolution. What was the guillotine's effect on artists? There were basically 3 things, right? They either became revolutionaries, or they fled, or they just stopped making art. I want you to know the hierarchy of classifications of the paintings according to the Royal Academy of Painting and Sculpture. What was the number 1 classification of painting? History. What was number 2 and 3 and 4 and 5? Judith and Holofernes will be on the test. I can't remember if it's the story that's on the test or the painting that's on the test. And it very well might be the painting, and you would need to know the artist. And then we saw 2 different artists that painted Judith and Holofernes. I want you to know the details of Las Mañanas. There'll be a question about Las Mañanas on the test. And why did I discuss Louis XIV's death in an art history class? You should know what the effect of Louis XIV's death had on art history. Am I going too fast? There's a question on the test about the death of Marat painting. There's a question on the test about the Medici cycle. Those 24 paintings in that room that were commissioned by Marie de Medici, the Queen of France. She commissioned them by Rubens. There'll be a question about that on the test. Basically, why did she commission those? The term militia will be on the test. What famous artwork did we look at that had a militia in it? Night Watch. So you should know what a militia is. The term pastoral idyll is on the test. I discussed that in my Rococo lecture. I want you to know what a pendant painting is. Let's just say pendant painting. I want you to know the effect of the Protestant Reformation on art history. The term quadratura is on the test. I discussed this when we were looking at the ceilings. I want you to know what a reception piece is. There's a question about Rubenesque on the test. I want you to know what a salon is. I want you to know both kinds of salon. Salon with a big S and a salon with a little s. I want you to know what tenebrism is. One of the paintings that we discussed was Tete a Tete. It will be on the test. Maybe you need to know the details about it. Maybe you need to know the artist. Maybe you need to know the style. I cannot remember what the question was about this. Trump loyal will be on the test. And I discussed this when we looked at the ceilings. The term Trony will be on the test. Versailles will be on the test. The Village Bride painting will be on the test. And Winkleman will be on the test. All right, that concludes the review for the multiple choice and matching portion of the test. Are there any questions about anything that we've gone over? And if you don't remember any of this, ask me now. Is there one term that you just don't remember from when we talked about in class? The Grand Tour. All right, so the Grand Tour that's during the time when the Pompeii has just been discovered, and there's a new interest in Greek and Roman art, and people from all over Europe are traveling to Italy. They're traveling to Greece to look at this Greek and Roman art, and they're having their portraits painted with Greek and Roman stuff in the background, and they're spending 6 months to a year traveling and visiting these places. We're talking about rich people. Poor people can't do that. Anybody else want a clarification of anything that we discussed today? That's right. And pretending to be young farmers uh, um, and pretending to be in love and hanging out in beautiful pastures.
And that's what affected the Protestant Reformation.
The Protestant Reformation took the control away from the Roman Catholic Church up in usually mostly around northern Europe, and we had a lessening of the spectacle of art. Art wasn't about the big fireworks and impressing and wowing everybody. Lots of small artworks going into the homes. All right, much more humble art. A lot of it was still religious, but in a much more humble way. Also, with the Protestant Reformation, there was iconoclasm. So, yes, Trump loyal is full of the eye realism. I gave that term to you when we were looking at the ceilings. That they painted the ceiling to look like it was more complicated than it was. That there was like big sculptures on the ceiling when it was just a painting. The unknowns are going to come from images that are in the Museum of Fine Arts, Houston. The slide IDs will be chosen at random by dice. And I need to get you guys the I think that's what we'll do next week after the test is we'll take our quizzes. So I'll give you the reading assignments for next week, and then I'm going to give you an assignment that you could do over spring break. You don't have to do over spring break, but spring break is a great time to get it done. So I'll give you that assignment next week. All right. Are there any other questions? Questions about grades? Question about the beast? I just finished grading the kids at Site Park, so I'll be turning my attention to grading your stuff